Hey everybody, and so anyways, you've already met Tara, and we've been talking about all the surgeries she's had. I think she's going for a Guinness World Record, I'm not sure, but she's had 12 surgeries and 11 of them were done on her pelvis and her abdomen. Now, first of all, think about how insane we are today. Think about that. Not you, because you're trusting the white coats. You're trusting medical science, the big breakthrough, the surgery that ends all surgeries, right?
Yeah.
And what we know now is surgeries cause more surgeries, because surgeries cause more scar tissue than anything else you can do in your body.
Yeah.
But what we're going to talk about here today, we're going to talk about her last surgery. And do you know what? It'll be her last surgery she ever gets because she's taking her life back. Yeah, you guys don't own her anymore. Not you, Facebook, but you know which guys I'm talking about. So the guys that are taking a piece of her every time she goes to visit them, right? You know what? I don't think that you're a really great practitioner unless you're giving a piece of the person back and helping them to find their true self.
Yeah.
So, you know, we're being sold off by the pound, but here's the deal. So you had 10 surgeries down there, and then number 11 was caused from the other 10. Do you want to tell them what that one was?
I had the ablation of the uterus
Which is
actually it was a different procedure because I had so many C-sections they couldn't do an ablation where they puff it up. This one was different where they vacuumed it in and inside the uterus to burn off the internal lining of the uterus. And it was due to extremely heavy periods and blood clotting, and I became extremely anemic, and they were recommending a blood transfusion.
You became extremely anemic because she was bleeding all the time. We're going to explain why she was bleeding all the time, and you had big blood clots too, right?
Yeah.
So you're going to get the bigger the blood clots because of the more physical blocks you have in the body, the bigger the clots you're going to have.
Yeah.
Because there's no flow down the river. I mean, you know what? Having a period is the river of life. You know, you may not like that period every month, and if you're having cramping and pain, listen, women, that's not normal. And really bad menopause, that's not normal either. And that can all be turned around, and I'll give you a guarantee on that one. But so here's the reality. So with every surgery you had, more physical blocks, more scar tissue. Yeah. And you know what they actually wanted to do? They went in there and they basically created more scar tissue to stop the bleeding.
Yeah.
And the actual bleeding was caused because of the scar tissue. Because she had so many surgeries, so much scar tissue, the circulation was decreased so bad that you had tissue disintegration. You get tissue disintegration when you no longer have proper blood flow. Because when you no longer have proper blood flow, that means the tissue cells cannot be fed. And you know what? Don't get me wrong. And when I say this, she's not this. But she has so much beef jerky in her pelvis and in her abdomen. Okay, did you ever eat a piece of beef jerky? Well, do you actually think blood could even get into it? You would have to soak that beef jerky so long, right?
Yeah.
And so why you're here is for us to pull that beef jerky apart. But the reality is even all our Wolfe Non-Surgical, we can pull that all apart. But if you were on an inflammatory diet or you kept an inflammatory mind, that would become a landmine. So understand this, she has the power because she realizes that she deserves to be well. Now understand this, when I say this, I mean it in a nice way, but the reality is that you can only pick the therapy for the information that you have. So there should be no regrets. Yeah. And you know, I know it's kind of hard to say, hey, you've had a dozen surgeries, have no regrets. But the reality is you didn't know better.
No.
Right?
No.
And understand something, these blood clots are because all her blood was sticking together. There was no oxygen in there, no proper flow. And if you had beaver dams all the way down a river, that's going to stop the flow. And everything that floats down is going to get caught up. And it's going to cause a log jam, all right? And that log jam is the blood clots, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So in going through all of these surgeries, what were the doctors saying? Weren't you questioning them and going, why another surgery? Why another surgery? And then what I can't believe is how you even held a baby in there. Because remember something, that pelvic floor of hers was very risky. I mean, you know, that's why women are losing babies all the time, is because there's no loving in the oven. Their abdomen and pelvis is so inflamed, no baby can live in there. And then if you take a look at a lot of women, they've lost tone. Okay, so they have no tone. I mean, 50% of the women today are leaking urine. Okay, whether you believe this or not, 30% of the women today are actually, their organs are falling down and sometimes out of their vagina. So here's where we are. This is what we're dealing with. And meanwhile, the whole pelvic region is what keeps life on this, of women, keeps life on this planet. What do you think?
I agree, 100%.
Yeah, so what did the doctors say to you?
Well,
every time you went in there and you said, oh my gosh, another surgery, another surgery?
You know, this last surgery, it was either a hysterectomy or the ablation. That was my choice.
Well, you made the right choice.
Yeah, oh yeah, I would not do a hysterectomy.
So a hysterectomy is where you lose it all.
Yeah.
You lose your uterus, you lose your ovaries.
And your cervix.
Okay, and your cervix. And you know what that, if you were, you're not, and please do not take this wrong, but if you were a dog, that would be called what? All right. So understand something, and when you lose that, okay, you can override it, but you have to have a lot of love for yourself, and you have to be a high vibrational being, which means that if you had guilt and judgment, that's low vibrational, you'd have so many hormonal problems and so many problems, because we focus on the physical so much, right?
Yeah.
That it takes a beating.
Totally.
Right.
Yeah.
Anyways, what would you like to leave everybody with? That surgery is cheaper by the dozen?
Yeah, and also as women, we do need to take our power back. It's time to start to research. It's time to start looking within. And it's all about healing. It's not about doing what you're told to do.
Yeah, really. Yeah. Guys, I mean, you know what? If you go to a surgeon for advice, what do you think you're going to get? Surgery, or I'll keep an eye on that for you. Is he going to live under your bed or behind your toilet? And how's he keeping an eye on it? What he's saying is once it's big enough or bad enough, you'll be coming to me.
Yeah.
But is he sending you to somewhere else that you can take personal action? I'm not downing the surgeon.
Yeah.
That's not what I was doing.
Yeah.
I was telling you that don't go to a surgeon if you don't want surgery. Yeah. And surgery should be your last option, not your first option. And guess what? Doctors should be your last option. I should be your last option, right?
Yeah.
Going for treatment should be your last option. You should become the practitioner.
Absolutely.
And that's why we put so much emphasis on this. And also, when I release I Am Woman, which I'm going to be having I Am Woman put up into the library, you'll be able to go into there within the next probably few days. You'll see the whole history of how man actually stripped woman of her power. And I'll just leave that with you. All right.
Awesome.
But you are the power. Take it back and keep it. Mm-hmm. What do you think?
Absolutely.
All right. So where's that goddess?
Right here.
All right. Have a beautiful day.